podcast, where we share tips, insight, tools, and stories from other changemakers, designed to motivate you to become the change you want to see in your world. Make sure you join our Changemakers community at runemagnus.com/podcast. And now it is time for you to sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Oh my God, dear listeners, it's Runa here with yet another cast episode. And today my guest is coming our way, all the way from the beautiful little island. Yes, little. I'm going to say little because it's so tiny you can hardly see it on the map. But nevertheless, the people that live on this island are people that are so very dear to my heart. I try to go there as often as I possibly can, and I use all the opportunities. If someone just lifts a little finger and says, well, you might be nice if you could possibly maybe be here, and I'm there the next day. I'm talking about the beautiful island Malta in the Mediterranean, and my guest today is one of my dear friends from that island, Michelle Gialanze. And I should say doctor, because that's what she is. Sorry. My mistake. I forgot that box. Well, welcome, Michelle, and to the Changemakers podcast. We're so honored to have you with us today. Need to give listeners a little insight why I wanted Michelle to come for several reasons. One of the reasons that are on the top of my mind is how she is constantly following her heart and standing out from the crowd by doing something that has a deep meaning for her, and it's changing the environment that she is living in. And the change that at least that I see is a very positive change. But of course, that's my perception of that. Michelle, you are an amazing woman. You are. What you've been doing for Malta, and not only for Malta, I know that you're doing everything that you're doing in Malta has an effect of the whole world. I want to go specifically and start with a question that has to do with your latest project, starting up Women's Directors Association, where you're focusing on getting more women on board, on company boards in Malta. Tell me and tell us, why did you go into this huge task in an environment that is fixed in quite a different box than what I'm used to over here in Iceland?
Hi, Runa. So thank you very, very much for having me on board here. It's a real pleasure. I've known you for a little while now, and we've evolved as we've gone along. So the latest project actually started with you and I in a bar, as one does. And I was mentioning to you how difficult I was finding it to attain directorships. And if you remember, we went around various people who didn't know who we were and asking them about, they were all men actually that night as well. And remember?
Yes, I do.
and we were asking them what they considered the role of women on boards.
Yeah.
And we were absolutely shocked by their honest, which was good.
Yep, they were. They really were. Yeah, we have to give that to them. Absolutely, they were. Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you want to consider market research, that was our market research. They were honest, they were brutal, and you came out of that bar and said, girl, you have to do something.
Yeah.
And I spent the next year and a half fighting that have to do something, because like all of us, we're all really busy with all our various things, and you think, I don't really want to take on something new unless I can do it properly. Yeah. And then in this period of time, I encountered 3 or 4 other ladies who were feeling exactly the same, and Maria Cassar, Fiona Borge, and Roberta Banabi, and we were like talking about this very informally, and they were doing their market research where they were asking people, and they were getting the same response. Yeah. So one evening in the basement of my house, we decided to set up an NGO. We worked on the statute. And we said, listen, if we don't do something, this is apathy. We cannot just let things be. This is not a feminist movement. This is not I'm burning the bra situation. This is a situation where we have to bring up awareness and we have to educate and provide opportunities specifically for directorship. And that's when we set up Women Directors in Malta. That was 2.5 years ago now.
Yeah. And tell me, what was on the way, I mean, yeah, it took you a year and a half from that idea in a bar in Valletta, where it all started, till you founded the association and you started it. Can you share with us what has happened in Malta after you started the whole thing? I know a lot has happened.
A lot has happened. We as a group started doing research, and obviously to see what other countries have done on directorship, so that we learn and we try to implement considering our culture and our size. Outcomes have been the following. We have now 145 members of this group. We meet every quarter. We have business networking events where we get someone in a field like corporate governance or now the GPDR to talk to our directors, to our women, and to bring up awareness. So that is dealing already with the awareness. We also lobbied with government. So the present government minister, Helena Dalli, is going to implement a new law which will encourage women to become directors. Now, as an organization, we are not for quotas, but she is going to put in what we consider 40% quota. She's going to call it 40% diversity on each side. So there's going to be diversity rather than a quota, but we are participating in this discussion and we are talking about the legislation with it. So as tangible outcomes, we have already done these two major things. And then the third one is we keep on promoting and pushing within companies, listing the directors that there are on companies, emphasizing how they're all male orientated, because we have one of the lowest percentages in Europe. We're 3% of women. So, and on our board, on our WDM, we also have a man presently who is very active and hope to get other men on board, because the idea is this is not a gender, we don't want to create the gender issue that we are fighting against.
Yes, exactly. This is something that I think is so vitally important in the world that we're living in today. As much of women empowerment, I'm not shy to say that I'm a feminist, because for me, a feminist is someone that is fighting for equality in all status. Like I've said to you before, I actually, a part of the whole thing about women empowerment, as fantastic as it is, it also has been creating a bigger gap between the two genders. And it's not really serving, not really making us work better together, which I think has always been the main reason why we're fighting for equality, is that we want people to get the best out of everyone, not just saying this is right and this is wrong. So yeah, I was quite impressed when I saw the man on board, and especially knowing how the whole culture is in Malta. I thought, hey, really well done. So really well done for you. So can you share with us, what is the ideal outcome that you, as the founder of the association, you want to see in the next 5 years in Malta?
Okay, I can illustrate what I would like with a personal example that happened yesterday, I think. Yes. Yesterday I was at an institution, and as part of my role as a director, I was actually involved in the interviewing board. And it doesn't make a difference to me whether the person, where he comes from or she comes from, or what nationality, color, sex, gender. And after I finished appointing the marking, one of the interviewers was a male, said, but we cannot take that person because, there'd be a problem, X, Y, and Z. I said, well, actually, you shouldn't see it like that. You should see his meritocracy, merits. What he's able to do in my list, he didn't achieve, so I'm fine with it. I said, but if he had achieved with the point, I would have a problem. And that's where I would like us to go. Yeah. We're not seen to be women, but we are seen for what we can contribute, what we are bringing to the board. I mean, there's a whole gap there. There's a whole hole of talent which is not being utilized by companies and is making a huge difference to the bottom line. And I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get why.
Yeah, I think this is where it comes to the boxes and the hidden boxes that we're just not seeing because there are certain drivers behind it. In this case, it could be the culture. It could be the culture box, or it could be this is how we've always done it box.
I think that's the issue here mostly. Progress is extremely slow. I mean, luckily, we have some corporate sponsors who really believe in us. And sometimes when you are feeling tired and you are feeling disillusioned with the whole situation, situation, which happens to us,
Yeah.
you go back to the people who you believe in, and you see that, okay, there are men here who believe in us. I mean, I even tried to do articles where I was listing companies, naming and shaming them, like 0 women directors, 2 out of 9, which was the best statistic we had. But it doesn't seem to make a difference either. So I don't know. It's going to be slow.
Yeah, I mean, everything needs to take its time. And I think overall, if we look at what drives change, and I know you've done a lot in your career, you've studied a lot around what is change and what needs to be done in order for change to happen. It goes back to, what's in it for them.
Yes, what's in it for them? And sometimes you have to point out, and I find this to be a bit silly, but sometimes you point out, would you like this attitude for your daughter?
Yeah.
And then the reaction is, oh no. And then you say, okay, so now. I was recently in another forum where I'm always bringing up, listen, there are only men here. And the guy said, we don't take photos as a matter of fact, so that we don't show that it's just men.
Yeah.
That's dire. That's dire. You have board meetings and and they don't show that they're just men.
Yeah. And so you can say from that angle that there is a little awakening coming up. And the more that you do this, the more that you point it out. And the benefit, really, I also think, and no matter which gender it is, if we are conscious about how we talk about each other, no matter which gender or race, like you're mentioning, that we are bringing out the best qualities out of the individual, we are really talking about a huge economic issue if you're not getting the best out of people. And for a small nation like Malta, just like me coming from an even smaller nation in Iceland, this doesn't make any sense if we are wasting people's talents and skills and knowledge in this way, that we're not tapping into the education that we've gone through. I call it a human waste. If the same thing would be, if we would say, let's just say a person who's a woman and has a great education and knowledge and skills to do things. If that woman would be food, we will be terrified by food waste. We are facing with human waste, not doing that.
Yes, indeed. And with decision-making qualities, there's so much that we are, and representation of the employees.
Yeah.
This is, for me, basic. I share with you, Renato, sometimes I get disillusioned even by women who say, but why are you fighting for women on boards? I go, I'm not fighting, I'm creating awareness and opportunity. Yeah. And then it's up to the women to take it on board. And also, why should you limit yourself? I can't understand this. And that's a part which I can't understand.
Yeah, and here's what I think, and I've been thinking about this one, this conversation, what you're just going, why are you doing this for women? And you can then, I'm pretty sure that you've got, not all women want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also thought about, why does the conversation go that direction? Not all men want to go do that either.
Yeah.
Why does it don't have to be all women have to do that?
No, correct. And I think we need to rejoice in the successes of the women to be able to create awareness. No other reason, because it's just like, but at the stage where we're at here, it's important to create role models for us to create awareness. Otherwise, then it should come to the stage, in my opinion, where it doesn't make a difference that I'm woman.
Yeah, I so agree with you. And I think whether you call it for what Helena Dalli is doing then with the gender balance thing, and not talking about it as a quota, but talking about 40% on equal. I think, eventually it's going to benefit both genders.
Yes.
Eventually it's going to bring in basically the awareness that, hey, it's actually quite good to have this perspective in the meeting or in decision making, that you're not always having the same perspective again and again and again, and which is always giving you then the same results.
One of the criticisms, Runa, which is talking similar in the same way about perspective and results, is they employ the same people. So one of the things that we need to change is this idea that you have to be an expert, in my opinion, an expert in the field to be appointed on that board. because actually by getting the diversity of thought and the creativity, you can actually make more change.
Yeah, yeah.
But that is subjective. I mean, if you're looking at financial organizations, they would say without MFSA, without the compliance, without this, and the other, there is no way that people can come forward.
Yeah. Michelle, this has been so insightful. On behalf of the rest of the world who believes that we need to get out of our boxes and be more aware of what we're doing with other people and ourselves, I thank you for everything that you are doing to create diversity on my favorite island of Malta. And it's going to be, thank you so much, and bye-bye from Iceland.
Thank you, Lula. Real pleasure.
Value for you? I sure hope so. If so, feel free to share the love and give us your generous review on iTunes, Stitcher or Spotify. And remember, you can always go to runamagnus.com and find out more about the Changemakers and how we can help you driving the change you want to see in